Down, down, out. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Elks Call, your home for Edmonton Elks fan talk. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Do You Even Elks?
Coming to you live on Shotgun Sports Network with the replay airing exclusively on Edmonton Sports Talk. Kathy, we're beating the Heat. Sure hope the Edmonton Elks are with an 0-3 start.
Well, hopefully that puts some heat behind them for the next game coming up.
The right kind of
fire, heat. Just a little fire behind them, right? A little motivation, something.
They didn't look too bad last game, or did they?
I mean, we're going to talk about it, of course, but I think they looked a little bit better. But
hey, they held Winnipeg for 3 quarters, right? And we're going to get into it. Still might be in for a long season as Edmonton Elks fans, but the ship, I think, might be righting. Might be righting a little bit. So we are right there with it. You are right here with us. So we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, show some love. Your support means everything to us here at Shotgun Sports Network. All right. Stack Show, you know the drill. We're going to open up with the More You Didn't Know, where we talk to our guest about a variety of topics. Next, we're going to give you some Shotgun Sports updates, followed by Kathy's Herd Report, where we bring you the latest news and transactions in Double E land. After that, we're going to give you an Edmonton Sports update, and then we're going to give you Green or Gold, apparently our new favorite segment. Having some fun with that one. And then, of course, we're going to finish off with the fan forum. So you know the drill. We're interactive. Get your comments into the Herd Chat. We already see John in the Herd Chat. What up, John? All right. Let's get the show rolling with the More You Didn't Know, where we're going to talk to Joe Pritchard about a variety of topics. This segment is brought to you by Royal Retros. Save 10% off your order over at Royal Retros with code Shotgun Sports. All caps, no spaces. Once again, that's royalretros.com and code Shotgun Sports. They are the Throwback Kings, and they have some pretty sweet gear. Digging that CFLPA gear. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, co-host of Rouge, White, and Blue Podcast. It is Joe Pritchard. Joe, thank you so much for joining the show today.
It's my pleasure. Always fun to talk to you guys.
Are you guys going through a heat wave too right now, or?
Kind of, sort of. It's summer in Wisconsin, so we're used to temps around 30 plus. Hopefully not getting up into the high 30s, but we're used to it. We deal with it.
Out here with some Celsius for us too, man. You're the MVP.
Because,
yes,
that's
just gonna give another applause on that.
Appreciate that on the end where I don't know the conversion, so I appreciate that. Over here is a little hot though. The problem here with the weather here is that it fluctuates. It goes hot and then suddenly we have thunderstorms and it's just a little wild.
Yeah,
I mean that's what's happening here too. It's either it's hot and sunny or there's storms and then it's hot and sunny.
Yeah, we're going through the exact same. So, but our teams are not. Your team is doing pretty good. Unfortunately, our team has started off on an 0-3. Your Winnipeg Blue Bombers are looking good, and we still have months between another matchup for the Elks and the Blue Bombers. So, what have you liked from the Blue Bombers this season?
Well, getting off to a hot start is something we're used to. The 0-4 start last year was like just a complete shock to our system. It took us a long time to get over that. But yeah, they're just coming out playing solid ball. They haven't had some of their talent right off the hop. Brady Oliveira's played like 3 or 4 offensive plays the whole season so far. He is coming back tomorrow night, so I really like that. But then Zach Collaros being out the first week, just taking some time to get back in the rhythm of things. Thankfully, it looked like he was definitely on point last week. And if you go take a look over at Paulopoulos' YouTube page. He did a breakdown of Winnipeg's offense against the Edmonton defense this past week that shows Zach's decision making, and it looks like there's no rust there. It's fantastic.
Oh, we know we may not have that specific, happiness about it or excitement about it, but we definitely saw that. And
I will say Matthew Peterson, former Golden Bear. I know we talk about him. I've said his name a couple times, right? We got to watch him here with the U of A, and now he's in Brady Oliveira's spot doing that thing, right? So
pleasant surprise in week 1 too, because nobody knew who he was on our end, right? We figured it out real quick though, right?
That's what matters, especially for him. Especially, being a rookie, definitely has showed his worth, and might as well just keep him. He's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And
you almost wonder if they rested Brady an extra week because they knew that they were okay at the position. They also have a couple other young kids they're cycling through, Cooley, an American at the position, which we haven't had for quite some time in Winnipeg. But then Peterson as well, and they just seem to be comfortable with that spot. So having Brady back is obviously the optimal thing there, but it's nice to know there's some depth at that position.
Well, and Peterson being a Canadian fills Oliveira's spot very well. You don't have to make, significant changes to your team to accommodate, let's say, an international in that spot.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's always nice to have a solid backup if anything happens, right?
You need it to win.
You know that you're okay. If, God forbid anything happens, it will be okay.
Yeah, we're far more comfortable with that situation as of now. Yes.
And I know we listened to the latest episode of Rouge, White, and Blue podcast where you stated that it's not like the Elks were going to win anyway. So, I mean, we have our own opinions, and we'll go through that. Well, but what is
let's be fair though. Edmonton actually played a real good game last week. There were a few plays that had they gone a different way. We're talking about a completely different scenario in the ball game. The drop pass in the end zone, the fumble as the Elks were driving, just a couple of things that Winnipeg always seems to have a tendency in the third quarter to have issues on offense, and they let Edmonton back in the game. It's a different scenario if Edmonton has some of those points that they had left on the board earlier, right? They might even have to play from behind in the fourth quarter. Winnipeg's MO is to grind it out in the fourth quarter, take a lot of time on drives and wear the other team's defense down. If they have to keep throwing the ball, might be a different story.
Yes.
Well, and I mean, we've complained about third quarters for the Edmonton Elks, but talking about a losing team over the past few years, right? We're on season 3 now. So for the last, basically outside of this one, for the last 2 seasons, we've been talking about that. But it is interesting coming from, a fan that sees a winning team all the time. Those third quarters, they get a little bit stressful, and you don't really expect to see that after a halftime. You want them to keep up the pressure, and they let the other team get into it. And I think that was also part of their issues, let's say, at the beginning of last season as well. But getting back to this Elks game, were you concerned that the Elks might pull it off?
I don't think I ever got super nervous about it because I knew our offense had the ability to start clicking again. There were some times last year where that third quarter stretch where they had 3 2-and-outs in a row would have started in the early second, and like half the game would have been that way. They'd get off to like a 14-0 start, and then it would be they might score 3 points in the next 2 quarters, and all of a sudden they're playing from behind, and that's not a situation you wanted to be in for that team.
No.
I mean, that also goes to show, right? I mean, how important even the smallest of the plays can be, and the cohesiveness as well. So, on Winnipeg side, the fact that you weren't worried about it because you knew that at some point they were going to start clicking and start producing more points. Whereas on the Elk side, right now we start getting worried about it because it's those little missed plays that make a difference for us.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, and for you guys, you have a little bit of insulation there. For Elks fans, not so much, and especially with all the changes that we've seen with our team. Unfortunately, the Edmonton Elks they still got a long ways to go if they want to look like the Blue Bombers, which the Blue Bombers are a well-oiled machine. Unfortunately for the Elks in this last game.
Yeah, it's actually when I've been watching the Bombers on a weekly basis for over a decade now. I've seen how fast this can flip because when I started watching the Bombers, it was the opposite. Edmonton was one of those teams that you would reliably make those big plays when they needed to. Second Grey Cup I ever went to in Winnipeg, Edmonton pulled it out. So I've seen Edmonton do that, and I've seen how long it took Winnipeg to build up to the point where Winnipeg fans had confidence in them too. So I'm hoping soon for you guys that you'll be able to see some of that building starting. It feels like you guys have been stuck in the mud for a couple seasons now.
Well, yeah, and I mean a couple seasons versus, let's say, what is it, 29 years Grey Cup drought or somewhere around there, like, crazy amount of time between Bombers Grey Cups. And
yeah, it's really nice not to have to talk about that anymore.
Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed I didn't get that chirp anymore, but
not anymore.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I wish that I could just say that was her biggest concern. Being a little bit worried, but not so much because we know that they're gonna come back. I wish.
I remember those days.
But Joe, what plays stood out the most in the last Thursday's game for you?
The two throws that Zach made into tight windows, one to Wheatfall and one to Dembski.
Yeah.
I don't think he makes that throw last year. So it was really nice to see that happening again. And he had a good season last season, but making the big play like that kind of fell out of Winnipeg's rotation. And it felt like they had to grind out everything. This year, he makes two huge throws into tight windows. And that's your difference in your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw those, and after watching that first pass, I was like, oh, there's no way we could have stopped that anyways.
Yeah, and especially
regardless.
that Wheatfall play. I heard that one. I was listening to the game, unfortunately, that night. Got to catch glimpses, but I heard that Wheatfall, and I was like, oh, dear God, like they're going to do some damage now.
Yeah,
and it's just part and parcel of what they've been able to accomplish over the last 10 years, really, with the same group in the front office until Ted Gavea left for Hamilton in this offseason, is they've been able to replenish. It was the same thing Calgary was doing for almost 20 years until all of a sudden the well ran dry. So you lose a big talent. Like Dalton Schoen went out last year for most of the season. Kenny Lawler was hurt a bunch. Oh, by the way, we have this kid Wheatfall off the bench. We have this kid Ontario Wilson off the bench. Where did these guys come from?
Next man up, right? I mean, that's your scouting department. That's the organization as a whole just doing a good job and crossing the I's and dotting the T's, as we say.
Yep.
Like I will ask, though, the Blue Bombers did just play last Thursday, and then they're going to be playing another Thursday game. Do you have any issues with that as a Bombers fan?
No, because the game against Edmonton was on short rest. This is a full week's worth of rest.
Right.
I'll take that. As far as when they're on TV, doesn't really concern me because I figure when they're on, I'm going to watch them. So in that sense, it's not going to bother me at all. And having a full week is fine. As opposed to the 5 days, because I kind of felt like in that third quarter last week, I was kind of wondering, are they running out of gas? Turns out they hadn't, but it's always a concern when you play on a short week.
Yeah, and at least in this case, it's a full 7 days, right? So it's not so bad. Now, what if it's 2 home games on a Thursday back-to-back? Because, I mean, I haven't seen that yet. And I don't think we have any of those out there on the schedule.
No, I wouldn't say
so. But,
so.
like, would that be brutal?
It doesn't seem to bother Winnipeg fans. They've had like 7 consecutive sellouts, which
talking that trash.
They really
even the couple years coming back from COVID and such, they weren't selling out a lot. And then all of a sudden they started doing it last year and just got on this streak, and it's been really fun to watch. I've been in that stadium at its loudest on Banjo Bowls. So it tends to be the trip I make every year to see the Bombers is Banjo Bowl, and then I go to Grey Cups as well. That's turned out to be a Bombers game as well for the last few years. Happy to say that, but no, when that place is loud, it's loud.
Well, and that just goes to say, you know, what happens when teams start winning.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of that's the problem with a 9-team league.
Yeah.
Is that you're going to have a few winners and a few losers. And I've been around this conversation for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Whoever's losing is going to have attendance problems. Whoever's winning tends to have better attendance for what they would usually have. And you do have the baseline is different in different cities, of course, but winning solves everything. You're going to do better in the stands if you're winning.
Yeah.
Well, it's black and white. I mean, you take a look at the Montreal Alouettes. I mean, the Toronto Argonauts, obviously, they're a different case, right? I do want to acknowledge that our friends from the Turf District here have chimed in, Joe. Geez, how's a bragging camp?
It's a lot of fun to be on this side of things. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, if you've got it, you flaunt it. If you know that if there's a reason to brag, you brag. So it's not like.
I mean, and let's be fair. Some of the gray here, that's from last November. Sitting and watching my team just have a chance and just kind of let it go away. So
you get the grays, you get the flex, and I mean your team has been in the final in the Grey Cup game, right?
Yeah.
For multiple years in a row now.
Well, and now they have a full week's rest coming up. And Calgary, they look to be a formidable foe. Do you think the Stamps can notch a win against Winnipeg?
I'm not too worried about Calgary yet. They do have a couple wins this year. Vernon Adams has obviously made that team a better team. I just don't know if they have enough around him yet. Maybe give it an offseason or two if they can attract a few more big names on that offense. But right now, I don't know who he's throwing to be honest. It's like he's going to make some plays himself because he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
But his receivers, especially with Reggie Begelton out, I don't know how many plays they're going to help him make.
Yeah, they do have some injury issues over in Calgary right now, and it's tough to say if it'll get better or worse. I don't know where their bye week is. You, as host of the Rouge, White, and Blue, I think you know a little bit better than I do. Turf District does say, I kid my friend, nice to see you all. Awesome seeing you, Turf District. You guys are awesome. Always check out their show, usually on Tuesdays, but they got a little bit of a shift tonight. Love the Turf District. Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, awesome stuff. We also see some questions in here. John, we will get to those. Got to get through ours.
Yes.
So which players specifically have you been watching on the Blue and Gold?
Well, all of them, really. I mean, it's the team I watch every week, rain, shine, tidal wave, whatever, right? So I have a better sense of what they're doing than anybody else. Because I'm not, at this stage of my life, it's hard to sit and watch 4 games, even if I get some delays. Some of the condensed games that have been posted lately, I've been saving my bacon. Nice. To be completely fair, it's a little bit harder to catch the flow of the game as it's going, but you get to see what's happening at least. So, but I think the difference between this year's team and last year's team so far is the defensive line is a lot more solid. James Vodder's coming in helps. The linebacking core is real solid. Lovin Jones in Big Hill's old spot. And the concern you always have losing a guy like Tyrell Ford is, do you have a replacement? Looks like the Bombers found one. Feels like the secondary is as solid as it has been. So the defense is there. The offensive line's had some changes too. It's going 3 Americans this year, which is pretty unusual. But they have enough skill players to make that feasible. And the offensive line's been solid. They can be giving Zach and Chris Streveler time when they need it. Really, I don't have a whole lot there's not a lot of areas of concern right now. I also like how Hogan is calling games too. I feel like it's a refreshing change from. It felt like the Bombers got kind of stuck last year. They were a pretty predictable offense last year, and this year it's a little bit harder to go. Okay, that's what they're going to do this play.
Well, and I mean, you year over year, you do want to make certain changes to help get you over the hump. And as we know, Winnipeg is having a hard time getting over the hump every year. So,
yes.
Well, and one of those big changes, like you mentioned, is Tyrell Ford. Thankfully, the secondary seemed to be just a really good replacement. But do fans miss Tyrell Ford? What do you feel like it's the reception over there?
Well, of course, you miss a talented Canadian like Tyrell Ford. Don't get me wrong on that. At the same time, the money he would have brought in was allocated elsewhere. Somewhere else is solid. They were able to get a cheaper American in there. So on that front, it worked out. It's always nice to go into a season knowing what you have and being confident in that, and having the ratio flexibility with another Canadian in the secondary. So far, so good though. I mean, that's a guy I didn't want to see leave, but crossing my fingers, it stays good.
Well, and I mean, I don't think anybody wants to lose a fan favorite. I think, there was obviously a little bit of an earworm or a bug in the ear, however you want to put it. So I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it has to do with money as well.
Yeah.
He cost a lot for Edmonton to pick him up, right? So
yeah, we're familiar with that, right? I mean, losing Gina Lewis.
Yeah.
We definitely know how that feels, but at the same time, you understand it as a franchise and where that's going. Well, and you just hope that the replacement is just good enough.
Well, and I think that was also part of what kept Trey Ford in Edmonton as well, is the opportunity to play, like, what are the odds he goes elsewhere, and then the other team has to go through the same thing, kind of guaranteed the same thing. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not on the other side of that wall, but you do wonder. Wonder, and a lot of people already love Tyrell Ford as well here in Edmonton. So I think we would miss him too if we lost him at this point. But let's talk Grey Cup, which Tyrell Ford was in last year, that we all watched together. It was great seeing you last year, but last year was in BC. This year is in Winnipeg. Do you think the pressure is raised for the Blue Bombers for this year with the Grey Cup being in Winnipeg?
I think it obviously is, but the way the team is built and the people that are in charge aren't going to let that really affect them. They've just been solid and steady for the last decade. Even when they were struggling to get out of the gates, 2014, they had the big opening. They went like 6-1 in Michael Shea's first 7 games. And for the rest of that season and the next season, they were a disaster. Start 1-4 in 2016, and people start the chatter. It's like, oh, is this going to work? Is this going to work? The whole time, the front office and the coaching staff are just steady. And even boring in their press conferences. It's just, we'll just take a look at the film, we'll fix the mistakes we have and keep going from there. And it's just been the same philosophy from the beginnings, where they started at absolute rock bottom to now. Yeah. So yes, it's going to be a little bit of extra. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of extra pressure, but it's also an organization that knows how to handle that too.
Are you sure? You sure sound confident. Oh my god! Like it's. I'm not gonna say frustrating. Maybe I'm just a little jealous.
You just don't know what it's like.
I've never spoken like that.
No, but like you are an Edmonton Oilers fan, so I mean, there's a point where you could probably talk like that, but you're not hardcore on Oilers. You're a massive football fan, which is amazing. But you have not seen the double E's.
No,
like I
have not.
Right?
I have not had those feelings.
When you were mad that the team lost a game for the first time in like five games, and you're blaming the defensive coordinator, and you're like, fire this guy sucks, and like, team's fine. I mean, 2017, 2018 asks. That's how I would, Joe, like, Winnipeg fans get to be like that right now. We are on the other side of the fence, but no matter what, the Edmonton Elks still can make it to the Grey Cup. We're talking a little bit of Grey Cup. So
tons of football left.
That's early.
Football left in the season. But so let's talk about Grey Cup a little bit more, because we tried to get into Shark Club last year in Vancouver, and we could not for the CFL Fans Fight Cancer Grey Cup party. So, it's a big event. I know that you kind of want to talk about this because you've been plugging away on the socials about it and in the group chats. Now, what this is every year CFL Fans Fight Cancer hosts a massive party with raffles and prizes in the host city on Grey Cup weekend, all in the name of charity. So what are the plans for this year, and how can we find out more?
So it's cflfansfightcancer.com. Just straight, no spaces, no nothing like that. The party this year is at Tavern United in Winnipeg. Traditionally, it's the Saturday before Grey Cup, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. There's also plenty of other events going on all around the nation. Different dates, different times, lots of people raising money for this. If you remember last year when Chris went ahead and did the nine games in 9 cities.
Yeah.
Carrying a bucket for CFL Fans Fight Cancer. Got a lot of donations that way. There's also a traditional Banjo Bowl pregame thing on Friday night before Banjo Bowl. That's starting to become a fundraiser for CFL Fans Fight Cancer. So it's not just a one day thing anymore. It's become a year-long thing. Right. So keep your eyes peeled on your socials and on the site too for different ways that this can come about. You can also just donate straight from the site. There was a store that was running. It is closed as of this time. I believe they're going to reopen it a little bit later this year. So keep your eyes open for that as well. Just so many different ways you can contribute and be part of it.
Totally. No, and we always participate in the summit every year to start the season. So first round, our friends at the Turf District, they're the ones who host that event on an annual basis to get the season started. We do it all at the same time or same day, but different times or whatever. But, it's always fun to be a part of that. We've talked CFL Fans Fight Cancer on this show multiple times. We love that organization. We love what it does. It's always great football, charity.
Fantastic cause, too.
Exactly. And then another cool thing together, and it might not seem like it right now because of political strife, but Rouge, White, and Blue, right? Rouge, White, and Blue is the show that Joe co-hosts with Oz Davis. So you guys are on your second season now on Shotgun Sports Network. How's things going with Rouge, White, and Blue, my man?
I think we're like 10 away from 300. So we've been doing this a while. Actually, we started in like late October of 2015, I believe. So probably the first month we were doing shows, we were talking about Edmonton winning a Grey Cup. So it is within the history of our show that we've talked about that. So we haven't talked about Saskatchewan winning a cup, BC winning a cup, or Hamilton winning a cup. So you got that going for you. But just as far as things are going, we typically recap the week past. We go ahead and preview the week ahead, throw a little bit of the spread in there just to talk about that and how it affects how people are predicting these games, but we just have a lot of fun with it.
No, you guys are a blast. Oz has an amazing radio voice. You have the brain. You guys make a fantastic combo and convos over there at Rouge, White, and Blue. Latest episode is now up and available at Shotgun Sports Network. Once you're done watching this show, you can watch Rouge, White, and Blue. So do please.
Yes, and you can watch how hard Oz works to make me sound smart.
But all right, before we move on to the fan questions, do you think the Bombers are going to make it to the Grey Cup?
Coming into the season, I had some doubts. But seeing them come out the way they have, it's going to be an interesting run between them and Saskatchewan. And given that Saskatchewan has been knocking on the door for most of the last 5 seasons when they decide to actually win games after Labor Day, If they do that, it's going to be a very interesting November. That is for sure. And eventually our number is going to come up. But until they knock us off, I'm expecting them to be there.
There's still a lot of football left. There's still a lot of football left in the season. No, and let's go with John's latest question here because it kind of coincides with this. What team, I guess, besides Saskatchewan, are you worried about the Blue Bombers playing?
Well, we're done with BC. Thank you for that scheduling quirk. And given the way that their season's going, I don't expect to see them in November. Let's see, Calgary. Calgary is going to need to do a little bit more work for me to get too worried about them, although they always do play the Bombers tough. It seems like there's two, if they play 3 games, 2 of them are tight. If they play 2 games, both of them are tight, usually coming down to the last drive. So, I mean, they play interesting games with them no matter what. I think my biggest concern right now, besides Saskatchewan, because that's the team you don't want to lose to, of course, like anybody but them, right?
Right.
But right now, I mean, the only team out east that seems to have everything together, assuming that Davis Alexander returns to health pretty soon, is Montreal. And we saw what happened in 2023 in November, so I have good reason to fear that.
And it's not Alexander Davis. It's definitely Davis Alexander.
Yes.
As we know. Well, it's his fault for having a weird look. I'm just kidding.
Yes, and I had some doubts about him that are fast fading. So
yeah. Well,
every time Montreal makes a move that comes out of left field like that, I should just go, okay, they know what they're doing. Let's just assume it'll be fine.
Right. Yeah, I feel
But then again, for like the first 7 or 8 years of Rouge, White, and Blue, it was, what the hell is Montreal doing? Do they know what they're doing?
But here's the thing, okay? They actually figured it out, and they developed their own quarterback in-house behind veterans, behind even a Cody Fajardo, who's been in the game for he's a veteran. He's now QB2 over here in Edmonton. So, like, you take a look at what they did. They weren't worried about losing Cody because they had full faith in...
They knew what they had, and nobody else did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's a testament to Montreal's system. Jason Moss is doing fantastic. Unfortunately, Edmonton was a stepping stone, but who knows? Maybe he returns one day. For now, we got our own new head coach who hopefully goes on a path like Mike O'Shea. Let's take a look at these chats, the herd chat here. John, we will get to the Drake OVO later on in the show. Yeah, let's ask this one last one here by John. Joe, what are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Saskatchewan Rough Riders doing right and the other 7 teams not doing right? And I think this also has to do with that revenue report that came out stating that 2 teams made money and the other 7 did not.
Right.
And I want to say this to 2 teams.
Yeah, it helps to have a rabid fan base, right? And having just a fan base that's going to show no matter what, like Saskatchewan, or in Winnipeg to some extent too. But I remember some days that stadium was a little bit more than half full. It's been there. It happens when you don't win very often, but that's what's been happening lately. Saskatchewan's starting to win again, and that gets their fan base fired up. Winnipeg's been winning for a while. Their fan base is fired up. And then they have good coaching staffs, and they've kept cohesion with their teams too. So they have staffs that know what they're doing with players that know what they're doing. And it just coming out of the gates this year, those are the 2 teams, plus Montreal for 3, that just look like they didn't have an off season. They just look like, okay, we're back, let's go. They don't need 3, 4, 5 weeks to find their footing.
Yeah,
I'm honestly surprised.
Warm up that takes 3 to 4 games.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised Toronto is having the trouble they're having, but their losses must have been a lot worse than I expected them to be, because Ryan Dinwiddie usually has that team firing on all cylinders pretty quickly too. Even with it always seems like the beginning of their seasons are a bit bumpy and a bit rocky, but right now it's a little bit bumpier and rockier than I'm used to seeing from them.
Well, and the Argos are kind of like the Blue Bombers. I mean, that's why they keep on going to the Grey Cup is, they can recover from this type of adversity. Once again, same deal as the Blue Bombers. You guys had a bad one last year. You made it to the Grey Cup. This year, you guys are looking pretty hot. Anything can happen. But they are looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Joe, we're not going to keep you for much longer here. Where can we find you?
We do have one last question. Sorry.
One last.
Our friends from the Turf District that sneak one in. Do you notice any new fans watching from the U.S.?
That's a good question.
I do see it more often on socials lately, just anecdotally or just seeing with the way Blue Sky is set up, you see feeds that show you every mention of the CFL. I'm seeing a few more Americans than I'm used to seeing participating in that. I wish I could say that, hey, look, I've recruited like 10, 15 new fans. We're all going to come up for a game sometime. I've been over for like the last 20 years on that. So I've done absolutely nothing right on that front, at least face to face.
I feel like
hopefully Rouge, White, and Blue has helped somewhere. But
very true. And I feel like having 2 Winnipeg Blue Bombers fans in Wisconsin is more than enough right now. So
we could use a lot more than that.
In Chippewa Falls, I mean, we could still use more in Chippewa Falls. That's the spirit. No, you guys do fantastic. Even what was it? New England Sports Report has been a massive CFL fan now, and New England Sports Report obviously covers New England, like the Patriots and some Boston sports and everything else, but happening in mass. But that's kind of a small sample size of how the CFL is reaching out. Do you think that the CBS Sports deal has kind of helped with that?
Honestly, I think it's hindered it because it's harder to find CBS Sports Network in the US. It's you have your basic tier of channels. You have your second tier that you're usually paying a little bit more. And sometimes that CBS Sports Network is on like the third tier where you're having to spend a ton of money on it. And it's only half the game, so the other half you have to go find streaming on the league website. Whereas if they did if you did all the streaming from CFL Plus in the US and charged like a nominal fee, you'd have a lot more people. Probably at least the hardcores would be able to go, okay, I can find it every week. Here it is. It's easy enough to do. But it is getting it in front of people that are channel flipping, right? That does help. The thing that they used to have with ESPN, they were getting a lot less revenue with. But if you had an ESPN subscription, you either get the game on ESPN2 or the ESPN streaming service, and you just click open the ESPN app. As long as you're subscribed to ESPN2, here it is. It's all in the same spot. They don't have that right now, so it's a little bit more difficult.
It's good that the CFL didn't make it to the Ocho. Sorry.
But so what do you think is the contributing factor for a little bit more
uptick?
In the US?
Just football is huge here. So having the UFL or the old XFL, the old USFL, now the UFL, does get a decent amount of viewers for a sports product, just in general. And the NFL is obviously the elephant in the room. I do notice U.S. fans talking about it more from June to August, the CFL, and then disappearing in September. The ones that continue to talk about it after September, I'm like, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do notice, out of all the people I do see in the U.S. that are watching it, a lot of media members, like people that are there was a guy that was the sports manager over at CBS 58 Milwaukee, just ended up now down in North Carolina just this past year, but he was playing CFL fantasy football with me for a couple of years, so that was pretty interesting to have. And I do see a lot more, just it seems like if I see a random CFL fan, they tend to be a member of the media somewhere somehow.
Interesting. Yeah, that's James. Yoni Soder. What I think for biggest contributing factor, Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. I think that's
I sure hope so. I hope we've helped in some way.
Fantastic. It's literally one of my favorite shows. I do listen to you guys on TuneIn. I listen to you guys, and I don't know if I've hit you up on iHeart yet, but variety of ways, YouTube usually, and that is here on Shotgun Sports Network. But where can our viewers find you online?
Well, if you're finding the Elks Call, you can find us at the same spaces. Shotgun Sports Network, obviously, on YouTube as well, under Shotgun Sports. Our podcast is on, our audio only version is on Podbean, so that can be found Apple, Google, iHeart, TuneIn, just about anywhere any podcast you have should be able to find it. And if you know of one that we're not on, let me know so I can fix that.
Ooh, I like that.
You know what? Yeah, that's
I like
write that down because I forget all the time.
Yeah.
We should look into that.
Where aren't we? Man, can't thank you enough for tonight. We won't hold you back any further, but thanks a ton for joining us tonight on the Elks Call. I'm sure we're going to see you again soon, my man.
No, always here if you need me.
Thanks, man.
Thank you
really
so
appreciate
much,
it. And go Elks. Go Elks, but nice win, man.
Yeah, go Elks until the next time we see you.
Exactly.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. We
Same to
appreciate
your
that.
team.
Have a good night, Joe.
And that was Joe Pritchard of the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast, talking a lot of Bombers. Unfortunately, the Edmonton Elks did lose to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he's gone through the years of suffering to get to that point. Same deal for us. We're going through our years of suffering now, and on this show, why don't we just talk about the latest suffering?
Let's do it.
Okay, Kathy's Herd Report is coming right up, where we talk recent news, transactions, and everything else. And we're going to do a breakdown and player of the game, player to watch. So it's going to be a fun one. It's always a fun one. But today's Herd Report is brought to you by, you guessed it, Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Us and Joe have you covered on the latest happenings in the CFL from across multiple borders. Americans talking Canadian football, Rouge, White, and Blue, only on Shotgun Sports Network. All right, so to give our viewers and listeners a little bit of a rundown of what happened behind the scenes with us on this one, you got to watch the game.
Not the first quarter. Yeah.
Okay, so you missed a full quarter, and I was listening while doing some photography at Love Pro Wrestling and Clandestine Wrestling Society. Yeah. So it was an exciting listen.
Was it?
It was a very exciting listen.
I can't listen to the games. I'm sorry. It's too. I don't know what it is about it. I just get lost.
Didn't grow up in that era, you know, listening to radio.
Football. Well, especially the audio. The audio is just absolutely horrible. It's really hard to concentrate.
Morley and Dave.
I'm not saying they are horrible. I'm just saying that AM radio is horrible.
It's not bad if you use TuneIn, which is where you can also find
you know what? And I don't do that. I just go straight to AM radio. But maybe that's a me problem. I did listen though. I was listening on the car as I was driving back. So I definitely did. But yeah, it was. I know right off the get-go. Yeah, I was driving and you sent me a video of yourself just being like, let's go. And I was like, oh, something happened. I was having ice cream with the kids, a Dairy Queen with my parents. And I'm like, oh, something happened. Something happened. I'm going to have to make it home.
Oh, yeah. I was driving down and got a little bit excited there and made a video once I parked.
Yeah. There you go. Safe driving. But yes, the first quarter, it features some really early fireworks for the Elks. They exchanged some short possessions to start the game. Edmonton found the rhythm. Tyrell Ford connected to number 86, Arkell Smith, 29 yards. You know, there were also some contributions to the ground game. Julian Grant, Justin Rankin, breaking off double-digit runs to push deep into Winnipeg territory. So, and then Cody Fajardo.
Capped off and he, of course, quarterback sneak, you know, he's in for short yardage, but he's been steady hand so far.
I am loving him in that position.
Yeah.
I really am. I think I said the same thing last episode, but I really am. I think he's comfortable in it. And, he's getting some wins. He's getting some points. He's getting some really good plays. And I think he's doing a really good job there.
Personal wins, of course, with some tutties, but it is nice to see some touchdowns. And I mean, seeing the Edmonton Elks go up 7-0 early, that was really nice.
Yes. Did you think that we were going to get points on the board before Winnipeg?
No, I did not. So I accidentally called this an 0-3 start to the season somewhere else, not on our show, but it was a David and Goliath matchup, and to see those points first from the Edmonton Elks gave you a little bit of hope.
A little bit of hope.
A little bit of hope.
Winnipeg did respond with a methodical drive and a touchdown of their own. And, it may have come down to a costly roughing the passer penalty against Edmonton.
Mhm.
So, once again, but going back to that conversation with Joe, is sometimes it's the little things. And we've talked about this before, whether it is a penalty, whether it's a fumble, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Right? It's just one of those things that if you keep it clean, there's a better chance that, of not allowing certain things like that to happen. Perhaps. You never know.
Right.
I mean, Zach Collaros definitely did his thing.
Yeah, he balled out. He balled out, and he even
Oh.
ran on the Elks, which was
Yep, he
the
sure did.
disappointing part.
Sergio Castillo, he missed the convert, leaving Blue Bombers trailing 7-6 as the quarter came to a close.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. Second quarter, however, the momentum shifted in Winnipeg's favor. Despite Edmonton opening the frame with a solid 38-yard field goal from Vincent Blanchard, taking a 10-6 lead, which good for him again. He's been doing great.
He's been doing good. He's been turning it around. That's a big positive.
Yeah.
Special teams, positive.
Love it. And we had our doubts. I think, in the first couple of preseason games and even that first game, we're like, oh man, what's going to happen with our kicking position?
Yeah,
but
preseason specifically, yeah.
Preseason specifically. But Vincent Blanchard, he's been doing great. He hasn't missed a field goal in a couple of games, so hopefully can keep that going. Because once again, it's the little things. You never know when you
need that extra point.
Exactly.
Right?
You never know when it's a field goal that is going to seal the deal. So.
Yeah.
Once again, that lead was short-lived. Zach Collaros exploded with back-to-back deep touchdown passes.
Yeah, I want to say one of those was Weefall. I want to say.
Oh my goodness! But do you see it? No, you didn't see it.
No,
though.
I didn't see it. I was listening.
Like I saw it and I was like, "Yep, can't do anything with that. Can't freaking do anything with that. Like, who does that?" It was really cool to see. I'm not gonna lie.
No, totally.
The Elks struggled to respond offensively. Tyrell Ford was sacked. Promising drive was cut short when Justin Rankin fumbled it, right after a catch.
Yeah.
Collaros continues his hot streak, setting up a 36-yard field goal to stretch Winnipeg's lead. That was a very frustrating one, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I mean Rankin generally how many fumbles has he had this season? Is it 2?
I can't remember.
1 or 2? If it's 1, that's not a bad stat. 2, a little bit concerning, but I don't think he fumbled as much as.
I don't think he has.
No, so that'd be the first one.
It might be the first one for him.
I'll take a look.
I can't remember talking about Justin Rankin fumbling the ball. So
no, Tyrell Ford's fumbled one in that last game, I believe, before the Winnipeg game. So yeah, I don't think Rankin has. But, which you know what, get it out of the way early, but don't do it again. Don't do it again. That's the only rule.
Edmonton did manage to close the half on a positive note. Ford led a quick, efficient drive that ended in another Blanchard field goal.
Yeah.
So I guess Zach Collaros was just doing just fine without Brady Oliveira.
Matthew Peterson, I'm telling you. I mean, well, and I don't know how many rushes Matthew Peterson had in that first half. I didn't check the stats. You would actually know better than I do, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't. Obviously, this team doesn't necessarily need Brady Oliveira. And
you know what? When I was having ice cream with my parents and the kids, I was like, well, at least Brady Oliveira is not playing. So we may have a little bit of an advantage. Nope. Didn't matter.
No. So then we go into halftime. Jamie Fadoon here. Do want to acknowledge this herd chat comment. Jamie's in Calgary right now for the first Stampede Bowl, and he's saying, let's go Blue Bombers. Shout out Jamie. You know what? Let's go Blue Bombers because it's against Calgary.
Yes.
So hope the Winnipeg Blue Bombers win that one, much like they won this one. Let's get into the second half.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I'm okay for that.
Let's just skip it.
Let's not talk about
because this is where things got a little bit rough.
Well, no, the third quarter was good for us.
The first half of the third of the second half. The first half of the second half, it was all right.
Yes.
It was not a typical third quarter by the Elks.
No, it began with a statement from the Edmonton Elks with Tyrell Ford hitting Julian Grant for a stunning 68-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
That was great to see, especially because we don't see a lot of those.
No.
We definitely, and especially from Ford.
Well, and we want those early in the game, if I may be honest, to keep the defense, to keep their defense honest. You know what I mean?
But and this is what happens, and I've mentioned this before, probably just to you, but one of the things that I find very frustrating, we all know about my frustrations with Ford. I think he's a fantastic guy and a fantastic player, has a lot of skill, but he's very frustrating, is that a lot of the time when there's a big play is like taking one step forward and then 2 steps back. Right? Sometimes it looks like there's something like this happens, an amazing 68-yard touchdown, and then there's an interception, which thankfully was negated by a pass interference call.
Yeah.
But then it was followed by a sack.
Yeah.
So sure, I mean there was a pass interference, but at the end of the day, it was still an interception.
Mm-hmm. But we got lucky on it. But here's the thing too. Sometimes you throw up that ball. Let me defend Tyrell Ford here. Because sometimes you throw up that ball hoping for the pass interference, which maybe this was the case in that throw, right? And I mean, if you're the wide receiver and you think that there's an inkling that you can't get it, I mean, maybe you tangle up and see if that call goes 50-50, but sometimes you throw it up and just hope for pass interference.
I don't think that was the case. They definitely reviewed it for a little while just to see whether it was a pass interference call. So yeah, I think we did get lucky. But once again, it's just that frustration, right? And it may not necessarily fall solely on Tyrell Ford. Maybe that's just me projecting my frustrations.
Airing these grievances.
But it's just that, the fact that we are not able to continue plays in a positive note. Like we have a really massive good play, and then there's
complementary football, which they were doing very well. Like, the Elks, I would say, did a little bit of complimentary football in this game. They're just not at that point as a team.
Yeah. But thankfully, the drive, that was a long drive, frustrating drive. It was capped with Vincent Blanchard once again adding a 41-yard field goal to bring Edmonton even closer on the scoreboard.
41.
Yeah. Good for him.
Let's give him a little.
Doing the thing.
We have a kicker.
Yeah.
Like that's the exciting part is we didn't think we had a kicker to start the season.
No,
and Vincent Blanchard has actually been good. There's a reason why they kept him.
Yeah. He just needed to warm up. And you know what? If he takes the preseason in the first game to warm up, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Edmonton's defense also started to settle in. They certainly limited Winnipeg's offensive efforts. They applied pressure on Zach Collaros.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sack by Jake Sarasna, right? Winnipeg scored no points in this quarter. Certainly helped, as we just heard from Joe. They seem to have a little bit of an issue with their third quarter, so at least we took advantage of that a little bit, and we were able to do something.
Defense stood tall. I think that's a big point, and the offense did their thing. So, I mean, it was complimentary football for that third quarter. What happened in that fourth?
Winnipeg took control
completely
of the game. Most of Edmonton's drives, they just stalled early. We've seen this before, punting again after back-to-back completions from Tyrell Ford. Bombers were the ones to capitalize at this point. There was a push on Edmonton's final possession, but a sack and not being able to move the ball farther down the field definitely sealed the outcome of the game. We saw a few positive plays from Tyrell Ford, including completions to Mathis.
Zach Mathis.
And Julian Grant. But a late sack by Jefferson, if it just sealed the outcome.
I gotta hit the boo. I gotta hit the boo. How did I predict I don't know if I said it on the show last week, and this is why we got to do players to watch. Maybe we should do players to watch on both sides. But I was concerned because Willie Jefferson likes playing against Edmonton. I said it on Canadian Football Central's show when we were talking about the, I want to say when we were talking about the Eskimo scenario. We kind of got a little bit of chat in about the upcoming Blue Bombers game, and I'm pretty sure you can find me quoted saying I'm concerned or that Willie Jefferson likes playing against Edmonton. Either way, you knew that he was going to be an impact in on this game.
And there it is. He waited until the very last.
Damn it, Willie, you should have just came to Edmonton. But yeah, it's disappointing.
Overall, the Elks put forth a spirited effort. Let's call it that. A spirited effort. Tyrell Ford definitely looked better in some aspects. We saw glimpses of a cohesive team during the third quarter. Unfortunately, it was just not enough. Winnipeg secured the win with a final score of 36-23.
Which I will say right now, 36-23 does not reflect how close the game it was, right? They held off the Blue Bombers for a hard three quarters.
That fourth quarter
sunk the ship, unfortunately. Very disappointing. You kind of saw it coming. But I didn't see it coming in the fourth quarter. I saw it more so in the second. So I think that there's progress.
Well, yeah, and there's some good stuff that happened here. Julian Grant caught 5 passes for 115 yards. He has tied Stephen Dunbar Jr. for the team lead in receptions.
And for on the season. Okay.
I believe so.
Or
maybe.
No,
that makes sense.
Okay.
No, that makes sense for the season. But no,
because
Stephen
Dunbar Jr. was with the team. Was with the team a couple years ago. So
yeah.
No, I think it's got to be on the season. We'll see. We'll confirm.
We'll come back.
Confirm.
We'll come back to that one. I was looking at stats from the Elks website. So
no, that makes sense. If it's for this season, then if it's on the roster for this season, that will be on the season. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
The bad.
Solved.
The bad.
Yeah.
They don't know how to close.
Bad salesmen do not know how to close the deal.
They have a good thing going on, and then suddenly things just go south. They don't know how to win.
But is it better than, let's say, 0-3 last year?
It's too early to tell.
No, too early to tell. Okay.
Too early, and I think the real test is going to be this game coming up.
Because last year's edition of the Edmonton Elks, they managed to get really, really close to wins, but once again could not close it out. This is a situation where we understand this team has been set back a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's more frustrating? Having a good team on paper, having proven coach and GM and all of this stuff, somebody that's still wearing multiple hats, but is it better, being in that scenario last year and being frustrated about getting so close, but then so far away? Or would you rather have a team that's a lot more progressive, even at an 0-3, which I think this team is, considering the setbacks they have faced?
I think so. But I mean, we're looking at some of the same mistakes and some of the same issues that they had last year. Right. So that's why I say that the real test is going to be the next game, because a lot of people say that that's a given, that we should definitely win this. We said that last year as well.
Yeah.
And that went south. Right. So that is going to give me a really good feel of how this team has progressed in certain situations. Right. We have been stuck in a really bad schedule, and we know that.
Yeah.
We had the odds against us, and that's just what happens. You kind of expect some of these games the way that they went. Right. But at the same time, when a game is coming up that you expect to win and you don't win it,
even more disappointing.
You know that there's issues there. Right?
Well, and I mean, like we said, the team is still but a fetus. I mean, it's a young team. The reality is that we can't necessarily expect wins right away, but fans are fed up of losing. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard spot. We do kind of got to ride with Trey a little bit on this one, and the team, Mark Killam.
100%. And like I say, I think, like you said, right, there's been a lot of improvements. I think it's just a matter of giving it time and seeing exactly how they can manage to get those last 5 minutes. And I believe that's what Mark Killam said. He said in a quote on one of the interviews, post-game interviews, is we need to learn how to win in the last 5 minutes. We need to learn how to do that in the last bit of the game. can't just have really good 3 quarters and then let everything go
Peter out.
south in the 4th quarter.
No, and you're right. You have to, and in a way, I kind of agree with what Dave Jameson said a couple years ago. This team has to hate losing enough to win. I don't think we need to get to that point. I think that they're going to turn it around faster than that. I think that was a multitude of factors last year that had people still in that mentality, right? And they started to pull it around, but you could tell that things were still broken. They needed to refresh. They were going to refresh Larry Thompson. And, this is just a year of multiple changes, and we do got to ride with it. Turf District here in the Herd Chat. Hard as fans to separate the bad of the past 5 years and this team. They are all new though, and need time to gel. And that's exactly it. We talked about it last week. Playbook is getting there now. Was a little bit vanilla to start the season, but Mark Killam is getting, dipping his feet into the water. Trey Ford, this is his first time actually getting to start a season and going through those motions as a professional. And then, of course, gelling the team around that.
Definitely. We talked about it before. There's a lot of new faces. There's a lot of changes, coaching staff. There's a lot of new.
And then, and as far as chemistry, your defensive line still needs to gel with your corners, with your safeties, with your linebackers. Like, everybody needs to gel as a team. And we've, just done a big swap out at D-line as well. So it's going to take time. But we said by game 6, if we don't have a win yet, we'd be in jeopardy. We're only at a game 3, and there's a really good shot.
Well, yeah, that's what I say, that I think they're a really good... I think for us to know whether they have really made an improvement and what we can expect, I think that Sunday's game is going to be a telling game. That's really going to show us whether we're still falling within the same mistakes as we were last year.
Yeah.
If we can continue to improve, and so that will be a good game.
Well, and Tailgate goes undefeated. It's a win every single time. 3 hours before the game, so 2 p.m. Tailgater coming up. We're going to see Turf District in the Herd Chat. Sorry, we see them in the Herd Chat now, but we're going to see them in the Tailgate. They are literally right behind us. So we're going to talk about this game coming up next, but I think we have a couple injuries.
Yeah, well, right now it's a little early still. There's only the first day, that was on Sunday, that they had. It hasn't been updated yet. The only 2 that are showing up is Tamari Fox with an ankle injury, and
Tiva Malga Clements.
That is a mouthful. Yes, thank you for that. With a knee injury as well. They did not play on Sunday, so we'll see. It hasn't been updated just yet, so we'll see what the game status is.
And I want to say sorry about that. I want to say that the D-line also did get an addition today in.
I didn't see anything. I looked at transactions, but that was yesterday. So let me take a look. I have it right here. I will bring it up for transactions. What day is today? No, there is nothing on the website.
So they don't have it on the website yet. I will. I know that they added somebody here. I'm gonna quickly. I believe it was.
Okay, well, we wait for that. Let's talk about the next game.
Let's do it.
We're taking on the Ottawa Redblacks at home on July 6th. It's the Hard Hat Huddle.
Yep.
I guess bring your hard hats. I don't know.
Going to work. JBC's JCB. Whoa. Not a JVC, because I would love one, but JCB, I believe they're going to have some of those on site for the kids. There's going to be a couple of activities.
Yes, there is no hard beanies allowed, though. That's not construction, I'll tell you.
That is.
But Diggers and Excavators will be at the tailgate, and there will be double E hard hats for kids at Brickley Corner while supplies last. Also, don't forget to bring non-perishable foods or monetary donations for the Purolator Tackle Hunger in support of Edmonton's food bank. Donation boxes, debit and credit machines will be available, located at the tailgate and at each gate. I know that we're also having, the Souptacular event coming up at that. So make sure that you're bringing soup for the Edmonton Food Bank. Yeah.
Souptacular, like our listeners and viewers here on the Elks Call. We're also going to be doing our poutine for the game against the Red Blacks. So come on down, grab some poutine, and then go see Turf District, literally right behind us. I want to say like 190, 193, somewhere in there. 193 is the stall number. I could be wrong. I think it's 193, 194. If you are still on, let us know if we are correct in that. And what it is with the transactions is a D-line off the practice roster. So they've gone ahead and activated Tyreek Johnson. They added Tyreek Johnson to the practice roster, but Kyrus Jackson, wide receiver, has been activated off the practice roster.
There you go.
So that's your transactions.
Thank you. Missed that completely.
Yeah. Well,
online.
Well, it's kind of interesting that it's not updated here, but it is what it is.
That's what happens. So, game preview. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen this game coming up?
This game coming up, game preview. It's going to be a fun time. The tailgate's going to be really good. That is Turf District at 193 and 194. But as far as the on-turf play, I'm expecting an aggressive game plan. That's what I would like to see. I want to see the Elks come out, activate Trey Ford's legs, activate Trey Ford's arm. However order you do that in the first quarter and make that other team scramble early on defense, try to open up holes as fast as you can, keep that other team honest, keep that other defense honest, keep your defense off the turf. Can the Edmonton Elks do that? Well, I sure hope so. At quarterback, we may be seeing Drew Brown in for the Ottawa Red Blacks. And if that is the case, I am a little bit more concerned. But I think that this is more of an even matchup and a game that can really boost the Elks as far as that progress and chemistry and cohesion. So I do think that the Edmonton Elks truly are going to win this one. I think it's going to be by more than a touchdown. Like a 30-20. Like I'm thinking like a 30-20 game. I want to see the defense stand tall. And if I were to pick a player to watch, it's going to be Zach Mathis this game. Because Zach Mathis has been exposed a couple of times here. If he wants to kind of emerge as a proven wide receiver or try to upgrade from that rookie status, I want to see Zach Mathis go up and get that ball as opposed to laying, jumping and kind of standing back on it. Be aggressive. So I want to see the Edmonton Elks be aggressive. I think that's the biggest thing. Player to watch, Zach Mathis. Is there a player to watch for you? Don't say Nick Anderson.
No, he kind of took it easy last game. He didn't have as many crazy sacks or anything like that. Not sacks, sorry, tackles as we have seen. But I definitely do. I mean, we saw a really good game by Jake Seresna. He's always definitely a player to watch, especially on the defense. I definitely like to watch him play and see what he can do.
Right.
If he can get another sack, I'd be happy.
But what can Robbie Smith do? That's I want to see something major from Robbie Smith.
Sure, but you ask who I want to watch, so
yeah, that's true. That's true. No. Jake Seresna is definitely on your watch list for this one, and then like I said, I'm watching for Zach Mathis.
I'm always watching for Trey Ford. Yeah. It's like a love-hate relationship that I have with that guy. And he doesn't know it, but that's what happens. It's so exciting. He's so exciting to watch, and he's got such immense talent, and then he's just incredibly frustrating and gives me a lot of anxiety. So it's one of those like toxic relationships that I just can't stop going back to. So I'll be watching for Trey Ford.
We're doing great on getting him on the show right now.
He doesn't even know. Listen, that's good, right? When there's a lot of strong feelings, it means that you're connecting to a player.
Yeah, 110 on this episode. So yeah, I got that logged. I know exactly where we're going with that.
Listen, I'm the one that makes the reel, so that's not making it out there.
But the internet is forever.
Jamie over here, he says that he predicts back-to-back wins at home and for sure a win on July 13th, his birthday game.
I love it, Jamie. I love it. Really hoping for that exact same result. It'd be amazing. Especially, it's always nice to get a win on your birthday. When your team wins on your birthday, it's just, it makes it that much better.
Yeah.
I feel
like everybody deserves a win on their birthday.
Yes, everybody, and I sure hope it's somebody's birthday on Sunday. So, yeah, gonna be a good game. Hope to see everybody down there once again. That is Poutine at stall 182, 3 hours before the game, and most likely we're gonna be cooking at 2.5 hours before the game because that's usually how it works. And at least we're not building a barbecue this time.
That's true.
Ken Shapka, game day baby, what up in the herd chat? I would like to see Rankin utilized more throughout the game, and I do agree. I think that Rankin, he's posted above 100. Did he post above 100 in the last game? I want to say they might have had some honors, the PFF honor roll. But Rankin should be utilized more. You want your run game to also help open up holes for your passing game, and we need to see a little bit more of that in general. It also depends on if that O-line is strong enough to make the holes. Tough to say. I think they've been all right at it. I think they could be a little bit better. And I mean, obviously having David Beard out at center and on the 6-game injured list, very frustrating.
By the way, I did see the update from the Turf District saying that Fox goes to the 6-game injury list, unfortunately.
Thank you. Oh, dang. So, so that is why Tyreek Johnson has been added to the practice roster. Probably going to be on the D line sooner than later. So as long as they go through all the processes. All right. Yeah. So let's move on to the Edmonton sports update. Your Edmonton Elks were defeated by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by a score of 36-23 last Thursday. They continued their season on Sunday night when they host the Ottawa Red Blacks at Commonwealth Stadium. Kickoff is at 5 p.m. Mountain, with the tailgate starting at 2 p.m. The Edmonton Stingers defeated the Montreal Alliance on Canada Day by a score of 94-83. They welcomed the Calgary Surge on July 6th with hopes of staying in the win column. Tip-off is at 4 p.m. Mountain. The Edmonton Riverhawks also celebrated a Canada Day victory against the Port Angeles Lefties yesterday, winning by a score of 6-3. They're back in action tonight at Remax Field with the first pitch at 7:05 Mountain. And don't forget that Love Pro Wrestling has events every month, with their next event featuring the Clandestine Wrestling Society on July 30th, and then the main event on August 1st. With tickets as low as $10, you don't want to miss out. We're the Elks. You're up to date. Fun.
We do have an update from John. July 6th is the last day to see the Edmonton Stingers at home until August.
July 6th is the last day to see the Edmonton Stingers at home until August. We're the Elks. You're up to date.
Sorry.
I had to bring it back. And the brunch, there is a Labor Day brunch form around here somewhere that we threw out the camera last time. So we're not going to get it right now, but check out the Labor Day rematch brunch. It's going to be hosted by the Edmonton Elks, and it is going to be at the Expo Center. Go see our girl Christine at the team store for more information on that one, because unfortunately we can't get it for you right now. But she does have the form. She does have all the info. Tickets are $225, big pancake breakfast, and it's Spirit of Edmonton style. So there's going to be sluice juice. It's going to be a great time. So yeah. And John does also want to mention that the lunchbox is available. There is the store item, the lunchbox. We've been talking about this one for a couple times.
Between the lunchbox, and I really want to kind of go in a little early, because I would love to get a little double E hard hat for the boys.
Are they doing that?
Yeah, that's what I said. Can you hear my?
Oh yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they're gonna have little.
I thought you were joking. That's why.
That's gonna be in there while supplies last. Double E hard hats for kids.
That is amazing. Okay, so now we have a reason. And you know what? I missed that at Commonwealth Stadium. I missed having giveaway items that you go into the stadium early for, right? Yeah. And Toronto does it fairly often.
Unfortunately, we never get to go in early, so we'll see. We'll see if we can get some.
tailgate till we die. That's no. It's the funnest part of the game sometimes. So never gonna rush in and rush away from the tailgate, Catherine. It's undefeated out there, okay? But no one wins in this next one. We have green or gold coming your way right now. This is our take on hot or not. So green or gold is brought to you by the Stampeders Roundup. If you're a Stamps fan and you're listening to our show, don't. But no, I'm just kidding. Please do. CFL family, hashtag, all that stuff. Even if we are about our ABCs over here. But, Stampeders Roundup should be your home if you are a Stamps fan. So go check out Stampeders Roundup on Shotgun Sports Network. Latest episode has the president of the Calgary Stampeders.
Wow.
Jay McNeil, I believe his name is. I could be wrong on that name, but he's good stuff. He's been in the sports scene for a while. Very great episode. Go check it out.
Cool.
Green or gold. So this is where we're going to bring up a topic or an item. If you like it, you're going to vote gold. If you don't like it, vote green. Herd chat, you know what to do. You're voting with us. Blow it up. Get your vote into the herd chat to have your voice heard. HERD.
Green or gold, aka the segment where Scout always argues with Catherine about everything.
I'm going in. That's not about everything, but sometimes I agree. I want to see your opinion on this next one. Herd chat, once again, if you are watching live, you will be able to see this. Let's go. So green or gold on this first one. I believe you have a picture.
Yes.
So this is the new OVO CFL merch featuring Drake's art, his Drake's brand only. I don't know how Drake has touched this shirt, but and hat, But this is the new OVO collection. As we can see, it says Elks, Edmonton Elks, and then on the bottom, always Edmonton. And then the hat has the helmet on it with the big double E's. Supposed to be part of the luxury line of CFL merch, but
right.
Green or gold, Catherine, what is your opinion on this item?
Green.
Big green.
I don't like it.
Big green.
You know what? I got excited when I saw the Always Edmonton. I did. It was the first thing that I noticed in the whole thing. And it was great because I even talked to Christine and I was like, why is it that we don't get anything that says Always Edmonton?
Right.
And then I started looking at everything else on the shirt and I hated it. So
harsh.
No. That I get that the OVO, the owl is the brand, but why do you have to put it right there? Like,
because that's the most I don't know. I guess there's a culture that associates with Drake's brand, right? It's
put it right in the middle of the entire shirt. Like you could put it in a corner somewhere in the back, like just the little logo, not the whole freaking owl that takes the entire shirt.
But what if you put antlers on the owl? Would that make it a little bit more wearable?
No, okay, that'd be kind of cute, I think. So maybe for kiddos, but.
Okay, so we will acknowledge here herd chat. What up, Love Wrestling? What up, Spencer? John here says green. Ken here is saying green. And then John does mention his logo is on the back of the shirt and his owl logo is on the side of the hat. I did see that in that picture. And then John, once again, OVO also does stuff with the Oilers, right? So does Lauren Kyle. We do know that there are a couple brands, City of Champions, Friends of the Herd, right? They do stuff with the Oilers. This is kind of plays into why I'm gonna say gold.
No, here you go.
I'm going gold with this, and the reason why is because the CFL needs this kind of exposure. Even if you don't like the art, which I will point out, that's the same football picture that they use for every team's shirts. So the only thing that really changes on it is the word mark and the slogan on the bottom. Okay, I'll acknowledge that. I will accept that, but I will still raise you with a gold. They need this. They need this a lot more. And I mean, the CFL needs OVO more than OVO needs CFL.
Nobody needs Drake fans.
In Canada, we are. We don't listen to Kendrick around here, okay? We're out here crying in the corner to some Drake. I'm going to go get the shirt. I will wear it on the next episode. I'll wear it. If you think this gold is fake, I will wear the shirt on the next episode.
See, now, okay.
I'm doubling
you know what?
down.
That's okay because you're supporting the league and you're supporting the team. So
no, but they're also they're trying to attract that 30-year-old, 20, I guess 15 to 30-year-old type of demographic. So that's where I think that this shirt and this collaboration might actually do something. Like it says Edmonton and it's Drake's logo. Like that's pretty cool. And it's not Oilers. It's the Edmonton Elks.
They could have just made it look better. I just don't understand the big giant logo in the middle of the entire shirt that takes everything.
The owl is the signature look.
Yeah,
and
I know.
That's what people younger than us
but
look
we're
at.
not buying OVO merch. We're buying Edmonton Elks merch made by OVO.
Brought to you by OVO. I mean,
so sure, have the logo, have it in the back, have it on the side, have it little on the bottom somewhere, not right smack in the middle.
That's what people associate with is that owl logo right away. Like they see that owl and they're like, oh yeah, it's Drake.
Well, he's also losing a whole bunch of money with all the bets that he makes. So
no stake, no Drake. Okay, let's move on to this next one here. Next topic on green or gold. Green or gold. Sunday night football games in Canada. Catherine.
What do you mean by night, though?
Sunday night, 5 p.m.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm going to say gold.
You're saying, what, 3, 2, 1?
Gold.
Okay. That's our
I don't
gimmick.
mind it. I don't mind 5 p.m. start because you're still finishing up by 8. You get to go home and, wind down and whatever. If it was a 7 p.m. start, I would have an issue. Okay. I would prefer a Sunday matinee.
You want it even earlier?
A 2 p.m. would be fantastic on a Sunday. A 2 p.m. game on a Sunday would be great.
Okay, this is where I say green. I'm saying green. Here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. Which John Kirby does agree with me here in the herd chat. Green. First of all, Sunday night game is the topic. It doesn't matter the time. I will say that. It doesn't matter the time. We are not America. I mean, I do see where it does appease to that American fan base, but it doesn't appease to the CFL. Okay. And I think that your Fridays, I prefer, if anything, I prefer Thursday over Sunday because I don't want to come back from camping and then have to unpack and then all of a sudden scramble to the tailgate. Like you're already taking up all your Sunday with a 2 p.m. With a 2 p.m. start at the tailgate. You're already taking up your day.
Well, you already know. Game day is game day. It's a whole day. Especially with us because of the tailgate. So
well, we have back-to-back Sundays. That's the other thing.
The earlier, the better on that situation because you still get to go home and wind down and relax and get ready for the next day, which is a work day. So
yeah, but what if it's a 7 p.m.er?
Yeah, that I would hate.
No,
once again, you say it doesn't matter.
The 7 p.m.
No, but it does matter. It's technicalities because the timing matters. If it's 7 p.m., I wouldn't go, especially when I have the boys because they got to go to bed. And they have school the next, well, not in the summer, I guess, so that doesn't really apply. But you know what I mean? Maybe they have camp. I still have work, right? So that makes a big difference.
But Sunday night is what we're talking about. John did bring up that Saturday, August 2nd, long weekend is a 1 p.m. start.
Yeah, see, that's okay.
And that's a Saturday, though. And you're already kind of dedicated to the Saturday. You're like, yeah, I'm the game's on Saturday. Saturday is a day to have fun anyways. Sunday, sleep it off. Do some housework, you can map it out very easily. But a Sunday night game, whether it be a 5 p.m. or a 7 p.m., it's a green. I don't want to go to work feeling groggy the next day. It's a kind of like the same deal as a Thursday, except with Thursday, at least you get your game done and over with. Fantasy, you're riding on that 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. start. And what if you do fantasy and you're waiting for that last game to figure out what happened? That's frustrating too.
Yeah, no, for me it's different because a Thursday night game, once again, as I said before, is rushing to the game after work.
Right.
At least on Sunday, you don't have to rush there. You can take your time, you can enjoy yourself, you still have the morning, you can still do whatever. Technically, you could go boating in the morning.
Right.
Technically, if you're not doing the tailgate, you still have up to 5 p.m. to do your activities on a Sunday. Like it's a
If you're not
complete,
doing tailgate.
it's a completely different vibe than a Thursday night.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I still prefer a Thursday over a Sunday night. Herd chat, let us know what you
Gross.
think. Ken here in the herd chat agreeing that it should be green on the Sunday games.
Well,
Just-
at that point, it just gives us Friday, Saturdays for games. That's it.
yeah, but I don't
we're
care to
avoiding-
watch all the other teams and sit through and wait and be like, oh, I wonder what the Elks are going to do. I'm watching all these other games. Like, if anything, give me a Saturday night. Give me a
Oh,
Friday night football.
Of course, those are ideal.
Give me a Thursday night football.
No, that's
Give
gross.
me a Thursday night football so I can walk into work when this team is winning. I can walk into work and be like, go Elks. Wear my stuff with pride. Like, I don't mind a Thursday. I
No.
do like a Thursday.
Gross.
But a Sunday, probably my least favorite. And if it wasn't before, it is now. Like,
just to argue with me. Once again, green on gold.
That is all right. Yeah, let's move on from our new favorite in green or gold. I think that's going to be the gimmick. That's the gimmick moving forward. And we're also going to move forward with the show because we have our final segment of the show. You know, we had to bring it back for this season. It is the Fan Forum. Let's open it up. This Fan Forum is brought to you by the Argos Fancast. Join Clay, Will, and Sir Doug as they give you the latest from Argos land right here on Shotgun Sports Network. In this segment, in the Fan Forum, I think some of our viewers and listeners have been here before, but we're going to do it again. We're going to talk about the hottest topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Herd chat, blow it up. Get your comments and questions onto the show. And new for this season, which I don't know if we can call it new anymore, but this season specifically, we are taking in Fan Forum questions. So throw them in the herd chat. Get your question onto the show. And then also get your comments onto the show because we want to have some fun. And this is how we do it on a Wednesday night, not a Sunday night. All right. Question number 1 for the Fan Forum. The CFL has just completed another edition of Canada Day weekend in the CFL. 0 games actually happened on Canada Day. Should the CFL have a game during the actual holiday versus the weekend surrounding? And I'd like to make a couple of points here. Okay. The Riverhawks sold out for their Canada Day game.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Jays sold out for the Canada Day games, and they had the red jerseys on. I want to say Stingers also had a Canada Day game. So what's your thoughts, Catherine?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a hard one. I mean, I would go if there was a game on Canada Day. I think it would be a really cool experience. I mean, nowadays, celebrating Canada Day here in Edmonton has become a little bit harder. Just because of the crowds. You know, I'm not a big fan of crowds, but if you really want to go somewhere, you know, to the ledge to see the fireworks, it's going to be a large crowd. There's a lot of, you know, it's not necessarily something I want to do.
Right.
And if people are not celebrating here, they're going to the lake, they're going camping, they're celebrating elsewhere. But I think if it'd be cool to have one event that celebrates Canada and they just get to go, although I'm not sure if they really would make a lot of money, to be honest, if a lot of people would show up, because once again, they're camping or anything like that, or even if people are watching on TV. Hard to say. I think it'd be cool though.
Well, and I think this is the first time that's has ever happened on this show. John here did ask the question at the same time that we asked it, and I think he might have got it in early, but we already had it on the screen. So, should the CFL do a game on Canada Day, 1 East and 1 West game? And that's maybe 1 West and 1 East is the solution. Find a way, because they do showcase certain games every year, and it shouldn't just be Labor Day. Like, why is it only once a year that we have this big sellout crowd? In my opinion, do that one East and one West, do a divisional matchup, right? It's Canada Day. Something almost like the NBA, I don't know, the fake cup. I forget what they call it, but they do an in-season tournament, right?
Right.
And so you kind of build up those rivalries and you build up that notice.
Would it be an exhibition match?
No.
Just,
It'd be regular season, right? But you just fit it in the schedule. You have two teams play on Canada Day, which everybody has the day off on Canada Day. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can watch, you can tune in, even camping. Like, I would tune in if we somehow weren't there for a home game. But if it was an away game, I would be more than happy to listen or watch to the game, listen to or watch the game. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like there would be really cool things that they could do to celebrate Canada.
Yeah,
during a game.
Well, and I mean, it's one of the greatest days of the year. I mean, you're celebrating Canadian pride. Why don't we have that same pride in our teams on Canada Day? Like,
well, and you just said, and John over here also says the Stingers almost sold out on Canada Day. Riverhawks, Blue Jays, maybe that's a thing.
A lot of people have the day off.
Maybe people want to go and do something on Canada Day if they are not necessarily going somewhere else to camp or.
No.
So I don't
know. I think that it's a no-brainer. I would be surprised if I mean, I don't know where Canada Day falls next year. I think it might be on a Monday next year. Doesn't it always move back one day?
No, it moves forward. 2 days.
2 days?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Schooling me. So if it moves forward,
Tuesday, so it should be a Thursday.
There's definitely going to be a game on Canada Day. But showcase it a little bit better. Why can't you have two? I think I like John's idea where, you have two games, different divisions technically, but you showcase that Canadian product. It's Canada Day. Everybody's got the day off. It's a no-brainer decision in my opinion. Yeah. But
I think it'd be cool. I would go. I would go for sure. If it was a home game, I would for sure make it a point.
Well, and I know that with scheduling, they obviously don't want to shift around in schedule too much, but you take a look at what's happening here in Edmonton, almost every other major or, I don't know, collegiate sports teams are some of our big ones here. Riverhawks are a big one. Blue Jays in Toronto, obviously, and then Stingers as well. I mean, Riverhawks and Stingers, they kind of fall under a similar category. They're a great spectator team here in the city of Edmonton, and they're cashing in.
Yeah.
So
it would be over here.
It would be good, especially when it's a weekday. Why? Because you're not leaving to go camping. Yeah. It's not a weekend game, right?
Very
if it's
true.
The middle of the week, let's say it falls on a Wednesday.
Very true.
As if you don't want the day off and to go sit at the stadium for a 2 or 5 p.m. game. Very easy to do. No brainer in my opinion. And then John here saying Stingers play on Canada Day each year since 2019. Well, now the Edmonton Stingers have
seems to work for them.
Found the opportunity, right? You have an opportunity and now you can make a gimmick of it. And now every year you build up that interest and you build up that excitement. You go to one Canada Day game and it's fantastic. You want to go again next year. It's maybe you don't make it that year, but 5 other people have had the same thought.
Right.
And that's also what's happening with the Edmonton Riverhawks. That's why they're always successful. They make the funnest game day experience you possibly can have. And it's tough to do that in Commonwealth.
I keep wanting to go to a game because I keep seeing everything that they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks so much fun.
Yeah, no, Riverhawks do fantastic. The Stingers have been doing great. Our other teams here have found the way. The Edmonton Elks are slowly getting back to that way. We talk about it often. We've talked about it often. So this last question. And Herd Chat, please do throw in another question if you like. Because this one is a little bit off the usual topics. We're going to talk fantasy. The Elks Herd is in the 2025 CFL Fans Fight Cancer Fantasy League. Our team only has 1 win in 4 weeks. So this raises questions surrounding our fantasy performance as well as the overall performance of the CFL fantasy system. Is it an us problem, or should CFL fantasy be less rigid? Should it Should it almost kind of go a different way than what it currently is? Is the salary cap system limiting the fantasy teams?
No clue.
I know, because I'm the one that manages it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've been wanting to play in a fantasy league for football. Wow. Excuse me.
But
I haven't, so I don't know the rules. I don't know what's what. So I am the wrong person to ask.
well, maybe you should start, because we got 21 points last week with me managing it, and it was a little bit disappointing. I definitely failed us. I forgot to switch out Nathan Rourke because
Okay, so that's a you problem then.
Maybe I just suck. I think that's.
I mean, if you're not setting up your lineup properly, that's a you problem.
Yeah, I think so. I think
But
you're right.
I'm not. I seriously don't know what the rules are or what is taking into consideration for points. So I am not sure.
Yeah, it's rather disappointing, I will say. I'm gonna hit the books hard for this upcoming week. I forget exactly who our opponent is, but rest assured, Elks fans, we will represent. Our friends, the Turf District, are absolutely killing it in that CFL Fans Fight Cancer.
Well, they probably
fantasy
set
league.
up their lineups properly.
I set the lineup properly. I just thought Nathan Rourke was gonna play, and he didn't. Very disappointing.
Swap them out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The season is early. There's still a lot of football left. As somebody once said tonight. John here, should the Elks look at what the Riverhawks and Edmonton Stingers are doing to attract fans to their games and see if they can implement some of that for the Elks? Let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine, how about you lead off with this one?
Sure. I think they are. I think they're pushing. They're putting on some efforts. I think they're definitely trying to, incorporate more entertainment, new bands, beer gardens, activities for kids. And that's what we see at the Riverhawk games. Maybe there's some things that they could improve on. Maybe there's some things that are a little bit more accessible for, say, the Riverhawks. But I think they're trying.
Yeah, I think the game day atmosphere has gotten better, but being in a hollow shell that is Commonwealth Stadium on a bad attendance day, it makes things really hard. You take a look at, Remax Field. Remax has a very intimate environment.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then you take a look at the Expo as well. Expo is also very intimate. One of the biggest problems with Commonwealth Stadium is the fact that you are so far from the play and so far from the action. The sidelines are so big. Commonwealth Stadium is becoming a relic. And I love that stadium like you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make it a little bit harder for fans to feel more connected.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Riverhawks, they get right up in the stands, which Ryder does. But when you're dealing with such a big canvas,
yeah,
it's tough to feel like you are extremely attached to the product. I mean, Ryder hits one of 20,000 fans 3 times a game. So you take a look at what Riverhawks are doing. Well, your chances of that are higher. They're talking right in front of you. You feel just naturally more connected, right? It's.
I agree. It's hard. It's hard when you have a bigger audience. It's hard when you, like you say, you have a bigger shell. It's hard where it seems a lot more empty than it perhaps really is if you had a smaller stadium. There is a little bit of a disconnect. You definitely see it whenever you go. I mean, you have your hardcore fans that are watching the plays, that are looking, and then you look around and there's a lot of people that are just talking amongst themselves, not really watching the game. Because sometimes it's really hard to get connected, especially if the team is not playing well, of course. But it's little things. I think they're making improvements. I think there's still a lot of things that could improve. I mean, their audio, I think that really plays a big factor too. Sometimes you don't know what's going on the field. They have their activities between plays, and sometimes you really can't hear properly, or you don't know what's going on. So that also makes it a little bit harder to have a very nice in-game experience.
Well, to feel that intimate, there's no way you're ever going to feel intimate at Commonwealth except for at concerts.
Yeah.
Because I will say, let's say Metallica.
Oh my goodness.
There was moments of Metallica where it did feel intimate. That stadium can do it. It's all about how you do it. And the Edmonton Elks are trying, but in my opinion, without that booming crowd of 30 to 50,000 people, you won't feel that. You won't feel like you are truly in the game, right? The team needs wins. There's no other way to put it. The team needs to get fans back down in the stadium. I had a big heated conversation about this today on other surrounding topics, but the basis remains the same. You still got to get butts in the seat, and winning is your number one path to getting fans back in there. I don't doubt that for Labor Day we're going to see another 30K.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like we will. That's a given, right? But kind of getting back to that Canada Day conversation. It would be nice to have more than just one day a year where you see the 30K or can kind of guarantee that. And it used to be really big with Saskatchewan Rough Riders games. But for whatever reason, the attendance even slips on those. And those are usually a big draw. Even last year was the home opener. And I believe we played them at home twice last year, once or twice. But either way, like, we are not seeing 30Ks out of that like we used to. So the team needs to win. $5 concessions and $5 beers at Stingers.
That helps too, of course, but I mean that goes hand in hand with how profitable an organization is.
Yeah.
The reality is that the Elks can't afford that.
Oh yeah, for the cost.
I said they can't afford to lower the prices of the concession that much because they need to be able to make money somehow.
Well, and especially when you're losing money year over year, that just doesn't work, right? You have to cut the deal somewhere.
Yeah, at least you're not paying what, $15, $20 for a beer.
Listen, okay, that team wins over there. Ken Shapka does say they should have 3 in-game hosts to run around the stands. I agree with that. Like
it's such a big place. Like, you just can't expect Ryder to be in multiple places at once.
No,
it's very difficult. So, I mean, if there were multiple people engaging with the crowd at all times, I think that would help.
Should the cheer team get advice or consulting from the U of A cheerleaders? That's the question.
Maybe. I mean, they could learn a thing or two.
I think that U of A's cheerleaders are better than our Edmonton Elks cheer team.
Their chants were a lot of fun. I feel like I'm already tired of the ELKS.
Elks.
Yeah, that one. I'm already kind of tired of it. Not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah.
I would assume that it goes next year. I think it might. We'll see. We'll see how it's received.
But that's the thing. The Golden Bears cheerleaders, they had like 5 or 6 different chants.
Oh yeah, no, that's different, right? After. Yeah, no, that's a completely different experience, but I do think that those cheerleaders are better. I do like the ELKS Elks. So I think they keep that.
I liked it, but it's just gotten old because that's the only thing they do. Bring in some other chants that people can learn.
Yeah.
Right? Don't just do that one and that's it. Right? Yeah. It's boring. It gets boring after a while.
Mix it up. Add a little bit of variety, and that's where, the U of A Golden Bears cheerleaders, they are fantastic at coming up with different chants, performing them in different ways. They go to different areas. I saw them a lot more than you typically see, like even the Elks cheerleaders.
Once again, it's the size, though. It's the size of the stadium. They have to spend each quarter in a different area for everybody to see them. So that's all you get. And I mean, they get their performances in the field.
But they have the hype team. I believe they still have the hype team, and those guys, they do help out. Mr. 1000 is back in the cheerleaders as well.
100.
Mr. 100.
But you know who I really like to watch in every game? The band.
Yeah.
The drum band. Like, they have fun.
Oh yeah.
You look at them and they're dancing and they're doing their thing, and you look at them and you're watching them and you put a smile. It puts a smile on your face, right? Because you're like, man, they're having fun.
Yeah.
And with the cheerleaders, to be honest, sometimes it just looks like it's a choreography. They're just putting on a show. They're putting on a performance that they have rehearsed for many hours, and that's what they're doing.
U of A Golden Bears, no, they put heart into it.
Yeah.
That's the difference that we're kind of talking about here. For whatever reason, And I know that college sports, they are a little bit faster. They are a little bit more risky. Your playbook is smaller. Like things are just a little bit different in that game. But the cheerleading, that's actually something to keep an eye out on because yes, they put their heart and soul into their performances, I think.
Right.
Whereas the Elks cheerleaders, it's more of a job, right?
Yep.
And I get it. I'm not chirping. I love our cheer team. They're fantastic. They sell those pins. They sell those calendars. Great folks. Awesome stuff. But I do think the U of A Golden Bears cheerleaders have a little bit of a step up. It could be that size. It could be the size of the stadium. But we'll go to a U of A Golden Bears game and we'll go reassess. How about we do that?
Well, you only get the one side.
No, there's two. They have two grandstands. They'll come around.
Do they? I can't
Well, let's
remember.
go to the other grandstand
We'll
and see if they come over to us.
Yeah. Jamie over here.
They should let all the fans go on the field after the game like they used to and like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers do after their games. I will say Kids Club allows you to do that, allows you to go down onto the field. We will be taking our boys down on Sunday because we have time to. It's not their bedtime.
But what if you're a kid at heart?
Well, we get to go down with the boys. They need chaperones, right? I'm pretty sure, Jamie, the last game of the season last year, I did go down and hung out on the field with the players and parents and all of those folks. So I think at the last game of the season, it's definitely acceptable. I don't know about, say, regular season. I don't know about even like Sunday. As far as I know, it's just a kids club thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's good that they let the kids in. That's, onto the field.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you create those memories.
That's a plus for sure.
That's a positive. All right. Do we have anything else here in the herd chat? Scout, there will be 60K on July 19th at the weekend concert. So yes, the weekend will be playing in Edmonton on July 19th at Commonwealth Stadium. Big deal for some. Weekend used to make some good music. I'm not a big fan of any of his new stuff, but unfortunately, not enough to make me want to go to that concert. Where are we going to be on July 19th? Camping. We are getting the heck out of Dodge. The Elks are on a bye week, and so will we be on the bye. So we out. Very exciting. We may not be in service either, so that's still 2 games away. And the next game is on Sunday against the Red Blacks, July 6th. Very excited. Let's go ahead and close this fan forum officially here. That was a blast, everybody. That was a blast. This has been a fun episode.
Yes.
Joe Pritchard. Big shout out to Joe Pritchard for joining our show today. Rouge, White, and Blue Podcast. New episode is up on Shotgun Sports Network, so make sure you go check it out. Like we said, big game on Sunday. Hit up our tailgate at 2 p.m. So 2 p.m., a little bit of an early one. I like that. I'll say I like that. I just don't like the game being so late, by the way. For the green. For the green. We don't forget over here. So a big shout out to Joe Pritchard, but a big shout out to you, the viewer, the listener, for joining us tonight or tomorrow or the next day on the Elks Call. We appreciate everybody, whether you are watching on our YouTube, which is Shotgun Sports Network, or if you are listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcast. Got to salute you from the Elks Herd. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Do Even Elks.
We are the Elks Herd. This was the Elks Call, and we will catch everybody on the next episode. Cheers, everybody.
Oh my goodness.